Hey, welcome to the first video of my new YouTube channel, and this is going to be a channel looking at different ways to access different pieces of software and online materials and apps and things like that. So today I thought to start off we'd have a quick look at making PowerPoint accessible for somebody who has a visual impairment. Obviously in high school and in college and places like that, somebody may need to actually use PowerPoint software to give presentations. The only problem being PowerPoint is very visual, and obviously you might need some sort of auditory prompts or audio within the slides themselves to actually prompt whoever's delivering the PowerPoint to actually know when to move on to the next slide. Okay, there's different ways to do this, and if I just show you one that I made earlier. In my previous job, I worked more with people with communication and physical disabilities, and so I made quite a few PowerPoint-based books for somebody that can't access a keyboard or mouse, but can manage something called a switch, which is basically just a big button for turning the page. And now you might notice down the left-hand side, I've got two of each slide, and I'll explain that in a moment. So if I just quickly run this, just to give you an idea.
Beware of the Frog by William B. Turn the page. Listen to the story of a sweet little old lady called Mrs. Collywobbles.
I'm clicking on the
Mrs. Collywobbles lives in a little house on the edge of a big, dark, scary wood.
And then I should go to an identical looking slide with this little switch GIF that I made, pop up
Turn the page.
and an audio prompt to say turn the page.
The only thing protecting Mrs. Collywobbles from all the horrible creatures that live in the big, dark, scary wood is...
Now, how I've done this basically is I've made copies of each of the slides, so I've got two of each slide. On this first version of the slide, I've got an audio file here which just says Beware of the Frog by William B.
Beware of the Frog by William B.
On the second copy of the slide, I've got my little prompt.
Turn the page.
Turn the page. So if I go to here and I go to transitions, you'll notice on the right hand side I've not got this box ticked on mouse click. So if you have that box ticked, which is the default, when you click on the mouse or press spacebar on the keyboard, it will go to the next slide. Instead, I've got this box ticked, and I've put after 2.23 seconds, go to the next slide, which is a slide that looks exactly the same as this slide. The reason being is that that audio file lasts roughly around that sort of time. So it will play the audio, and then it will automatically go to this slide here, and then it will automatically play my little prompt file here. Now if I click on animations and animation pane, I'll get this bit down the right hand side here. So this turn the page bit here is basically this audio file here. So if I click on there and go to timing, so I've put a delay on here for 2.5 seconds. So basically it will play this audio file and it will last around that time before you can then press anything to go on to the next slide. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Obviously, if someone's a little bit more able, they might want a bit more control over their PowerPoint and not have to wait for audio files to play, but we'll have a look at that anyway. So let me just close that one for now. Okay, so onto a blank PowerPoint now. I'm just going to get rid of all this, and I'll just use one of these random design ideas down the side here. That one will do. Okay, so we've got our first slide. I'm just going to stick a text box in there. Let's just type something. Let's just turn our volume up a bit, and we'll put slide number 1. I don't like that font very much, but I suppose it will do. Right, there we go. Right, okay. So we've got slide number 1. Okay, and let's create another slide, and this is my second slide. What a rubbish PowerPoint. Okay, so let's go back to our first slide, and now we want to add some sort of sound to this. Now there's a few different ways to do this. If I go to insert and audio and record audio, I can record directly into PowerPoint itself if I want to. What I tend to use is I tend to use a program called Audacity, which is free to download. The reason I use this to do my voice recordings is because it's really good for editing the voice recording. So if I just click on here and record myself now, this is my first slide for my PowerPoint. Now immediately I can see there's a bit of a gap at the beginning, a bit of a gap at the end, and because the waveform is quite small, shows to me that it might not be very high volume. So hopefully my voice recording on this is okay. So I'm going to get rid of that bit just by highlighting it, pressing delete on the keyboard. And the other thing I'm going to do is select all and go to Effect and Amplify. I'm just going to make it a little bit louder. There we go. This is my first slide for my PowerPoint. So now I'm going to go to File and Export Audio. This is obviously a more long-winded way to do it. I'm going to call it, just overwrite that I've done previously. Slide 1, there we go. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so now if I go to Insert and Audio, I can go to Audio on my PC. Now you could add voice recordings, or you could easily just add a sound effect or music or whatever else you wanted in here. So there's my recording that I've just done. So it puts this icon on the screen. If I go to run it now, nothing happens until I click. This is my first slide for my PowerPoint. Recording. Now, there's various different things I can do here. At the moment, I don't really want that icon on the screen, so if you go into PowerPoint, if you double click on anything in PowerPoint, it automatically goes to the right tab, or one of the right tabs. So if I click on here, and I can go to Hide During Show, so that will not show that speaker icon basically. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to click on Animations and Animation Pane. Now this here is basically this little audio file here. Now you can add all sorts of animations, you can make things fly into the screen and all sorts of stuff, but for the time being I'm just concentrating on the audio. So at the moment I've got it set to start on click. I'm going to put start. You can either choose start with previous, start after previous, doesn't really matter on the first slide. So I'm going to go to start after previous, and basically that means it will play the audio file automatically. And if I wanted to, I could change my timing in here, so I could say don't let me move on to the next, play the whole or delay the audio before it actually plays it if I wanted. But that's fine, I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. If I just go to play now. This is my first slide for my PowerPoint. Automatically plays the audio. Now, I know it's time to move on to the next slide now because it's got to the end of that audio, but if I wanted to, I could add another audio recording. This time I'm just going to use a recording straight through PowerPoint. So I'm just going to go here, I'll just call it prompts, and next slide. Okay, so now I've got a second recording on here. Again, I'm going to go to playback, I'm going to hide that during the show, and on here I am going to say start after previous, which basically means after that audio plays, it will automatically play that one. If I wanted to, I could go to timing and I could make it have a little bit more of a delay, so I could go to, I don't know, 2 seconds, no, 2.5 seconds, we'll put it on. So now it won't do anything on this audio until 2.5 seconds have gone past. So let's just give that a test now. This is my first slide for my PowerPoint. Okay, so it plays my first recording, and then after a few seconds it plays the prompt to tell me to move on to the next slide. So simple as that. Okay, so that's just a couple of different ways to do it really. So obviously you can make it so that whoever's using the PowerPoint can't accidentally click on the wrong thing. Also you could add something to the slide itself like that. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope this has been useful, and I hopefully will put some more PowerPoint related videos on here as well as other programs as well. Any questions or comments, please feel free to get in touch.